Hi everyone, it's Caroline, or Miss B Overseas. It's almost 10 p.m. I'm testing out a new ring light and I thought, you know what? No time like the present, let's film our November TBR. I am really looking forward to the month of reading that I have planned. There are some highly anticipated books that I plan on reading, some new releases, some read-alongs that I'm participating in. So let's go ahead and start with one of those, which is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This is a book that has been on like my mental TBR, that list that you have in the back of your mind. I've had this one on that list for what I feel like is years at this point. So when I saw that Megan from Meg with Books was hosting a read-along for this trilogy with a bunch of other fabulous people on Booktube, I knew that that was the only sign I needed that it was finally my time to pick this book up. I don't know a whole lot about this book. I know that it's adult fantasy and I think it is influenced by Russian folklore. It's said to be very atmospheric, very wintry, but the reason why I have had this on my mental list for so long is that I know that it is this sort of story about stories in the same vein as The Starless Sea or Once Upon a River. So I am so excited to not only be reading it, but reading it along with a bunch of people. I will leave Megan's announcement video in the description below. It's not too late to join. The read along is hosted in November and December and January. So go check her video out. Go join the Goodreads group. I'm so excited to be reading this. Next we have Here in the Real World by Sarah Pennypacker. This is a middle grade. I always try to incorporate at least one middle grade in my TBR each month. That way I'll have new things to recommend to my students. From my understanding, this book takes place during the summer at a camp and the focus is on a young boy who I think has a lot going on in his life. So in order to kind of escape that, he invents this world that he can escape to in his mind. I think it involves like knights and codes of honor and chivalry. And while going to this summer camp, he meets a girl at this abandoned church site next to the summer camp and they form this bond, and I think the story kind of follows the relationship that they have. Like I said, I always try to read middle grade so that way I can recommend it to my students. This one in particular though, I am reading for me as a reader because I feel like a lot of hyped middle grade is very fantastical and whimsical, which is wonderful and I love that, but there's a very specific brand of middle grade that I find myself really drawn to and really impacted by, and it's this kind of slower, heavy, melancholy brand of middle grade, and I feel like this book is going to do that for me. So I'm highly anticipating this one and I'm very much looking forward to reading it. Next one is a really recent release that I bought really knowing nothing about, and that is Sky Hunter by Marie Lu. I know that it is sci-fi fantasy. I know that it's young adult, and I'm gonna be honest, I tried reading the synopsis of this on the back cover and I feel like that's just always a mistake. My brain cannot comprehend the super in-depth synopsis for sci-fi fantasy books. I haven't really heard anyone talking about this yet, so I'm looking forward to it. And what my small, tiny brain could gather from reading the synopsis is that this federation is trying to conquer or overthrow this country or region, and then the country or region has this sort of resistance group, and the story follows, I think, two girls that are in that resistance group. I think I don't know, but I think one is like a higher ranking sort of officer in this resistance group and one is more of like a soldier. So I think it may be about the relationship that they form. Marie Lu was teasing this on Instagram. For some reason in my head, I thought that there were going to be ghosts involved. So I was so hyped for it. I was like, Marie Lu writing a ghost story, yes, please. But now I think that I may have thought and spoke and bought too soon. I think that just the name of the rebel group, they're called, or they call themselves, the Ghosts. I'm not really sure. This may have ghosts in it, it may not. It may have fantastical elements to it, it may not. Regardless, it is Marie Lu, it is sci-fi, it is young adult. I think that I am going to love it. The next one I actually checked out on my library's Overdrive app last night is What Is Not Yours Is Not Yours by Helen Oyeyemi. I have really been getting into short story collections and anthologies this year, and I have been wanting to read from Helen Oyeyemi for a couple of years now, and I really like the idea of experiencing authors writing for the first time through the mode of short stories. I think it can kind of give you a really broad scope of their writing without having to commit to one storyline or like a certain group of characters. Not entirely sure if the short stories in this collection are all related, if they have similar themes, or if they're just completely different and unrelated to one another. I know that Helen Oyeyemi typically writes fairly speculative storylines. Her writing has been said to be pretty mind-bending, which I have been known to enjoy writing and plots that involve those kinds of things. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this short story collection in the month of November. And then the last book that I plan to read, you would already know what it is if you watched my September TBR, because I had Siri pick it for me off of this scratch off poster, and if you stick around for just another 60 seconds or so, you can see Siri pick my backlist title for the month of December. But the one that Siri picked for the month of November was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I thought that I knew what this was about just because I feel like I've heard about it so much and for so long, but me sitting here trying to actually put into words what it's about, I can't actually do that. I know that it's young adult, I know that it's urban fantasy or paranormal fantasy or a combination of those two. I know that Cassandra Clare has this massive, expansive world, and then within this world there are a bunch of kind of expansive series, but I think that City of Bones is the OG, like that's the original one. I'm not quite sure about the magic system. From what I've heard, I think that these characters hunt demons, or they hunt ghosts, or the characters are ghosts. I think that there's at least one character in one of the series that is a ghost. That's really all I know about it. I'm nervous, one, because it's so backlist, two, because I know that it is so hyped, and three, because fantasy with me, particularly young adult fantasy, can be so hit and miss. I either love it and it's my favorite thing in the whole entire world, or I hate it and I'm mad that I read it. Despite having those thoughts, I am going to read it this month and I'm very much excited. And now it is time for Siri to pick my final poster backlist scratch off book for 2020. Oh my gosh. Okay, I've scooched over. You can't see the whole thing, but I promise I'll read to you the titles as they come. Siri was being quite temperamental the last time that I tried to do this, so hopefully she does the math right, like a good phone robot. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
It's 7.
7? Pick another number between 1 and 10.
The answer is 1.
1. It's Macbeth, which I've already read and I've already scratched off, so we pick again. Pick a number between 1 and 10, please.
The answer is 4.
4? Pick another number between 1 and 10.
It's 10.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're counting all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh. It's My Life Next Door by, I can't even see it, by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I've never even heard of that. I could not tell you what it is. Is it a classic? It's gonna be really embarrassing if it's like a really classic book and people are yelling at me like, how do you not know what that book is? We'll find out in December. Thank you so much for sticking with me and listening to what I plan to read in the month of November. I'm so excited for pretty much everything that's on my TBR, and if I'm not excited, I'm nervous. And now I'm off to Goodreads to go see what this book that I'm going to be reading apparently in the month of December is all about. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.